RDA has finally been called out. I mean, I've got to tell you guys, you want to go look at somebody who has had the hardest draw in all of MMA, the hardest schedule, the hardest, it's RDA. And by the way, RDA is always offering for anybody that can't find an opponent. I mean, RDA was just talking about Islam Makhachev a week ago as a way of getting to Khabib. But these are the kind of guys he wants. The harder, the better for RDA. He's wired different. But RDA just got called out, which also represents, at least for me, the first time I've ever heard RDA get called out, and it was by Dan Hooker. I am so confident that that fight will happen just because RDA never gets called out. I already know the answer. Obviously it's yes, right? A guy that wants Islam and could be, yes, he will take on Dan Hooker, and we owe Dan Hooker. We all as a community owe Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker, between going out to Fight Island, I'm talking about for the Chandler fight, and returning home 56 days alone. 56 days. Part of which he had to deal with the depression and the post-fight blues and all these different things that you have to deal with. And I'm just sharing with you, 2 months away, he made a commitment. Hooker did something for our entertainment. We owe Hooker. Can we all agree on that? We owe him something. Oh, and if, by the way, what he wants is to get locked in a cage with the former champion of the world, I mean, we got to give it to him, right? We really got to give it to him. And Hooker was talking about who I'd really like to fight is Justin Gaethje. I'm just getting the sense that Gaethje is going to try to hold out or hold on for something else. And, we were armed last week with that Gaethje might be given his choice of being a backup fighter between both Conor Poirier and Chandler Oliveira. That Gaethje can say which one he wants to wait for. So I think that Hooker's senses are right. I think that that call out makes a lot of sense. It does leave you with, what does Islam do? And by the way, I can answer the Islam question if I had an answer to Kevin Lee. Where does Kevin Lee fit into this is extremely relevant when you have Islam Makhachev, who Kevin Lee was trying, pre-ACL injury, trying to fly to Russia to fight. Islam is no better today or more feared today than he was then. And Kevin Lee knew it. He just didn't feel it and was going to go to his hometown to fight him. Now, Islam is more well known. I'm just sharing with you, if Kevin was willing to do it, not to mention in enemy territory, he's willing to do it now. Okay? So where does Kevin Lee fit in all this? Where is Kevin at with his knee injury? And I've spoken to Kevin, but not since December. I mean, it feels like I spoke to him yesterday. If I look back, it's been about 3 months, not 3 days. And he was healing. He was healing real nicely. Wants to get back, wants to compete. I was talking to him specifically about Submission Underground, which he wants to do, but he had shared with me the leg's just now better. I'm just now back to the gym, but I'm not full speed. I'm not running sparring. I'm getting good workouts. So that was 3 months ago. So allow me to follow up with Kevin Lee, and that would possibly answer our question. But when you start to get some little bit of direction on RDA Hooker, it does leave Islam, who thought he was going to be fighting RDA. What do you do with Islam? And we can find that out. And I'll tell you, Kevin Lee will take that fight. So let's see where everything goes. But 55 getting a lot of attention, and these guys deserve it. These guys are speaking up and they're speaking out. I mean, adversely, I'll look at heavyweight. You have absolutely no heavyweights calling out Francis Ngannou, which is just disgusting to me. It's disgusting. Even Curtis Blades has decided I don't have the right to call out Ngannou because I lost to Derek. Man, there's no rules, Curtis. You already did what nobody else wants to do twice. You go right ahead and speak up, and whether you get it or not, I mean, I'm just sharing with you to watch the heavyweights, the biggest, baddest guys in the world. What a group of sissies. We get led to believe that John Jones is going to have that fight. So you just all sit back and take it? Oh, it's already been decided. I heard that somewhere. That was at a press conference. You're just going to sit there and take that? You should have been fighting for it, even if whether John would have got it or not. You should be speaking up and trying to get it. So now that John has positioned himself out of it, you still haven't spoke up. None of you. And what are you worried about? Worried you're going to get it? That's the only thing you would have to fear. Be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. That's the only thing that you would have to fear. And you apparently fear Francis. If you think that you're not going to get all the more reason, you're going to be heard when you're the only one doing it. It's not a Conor situation where everybody's calling him out because Red Panty Night's real. That's not what this is at all. You're not calling out Francis because you don't want to fight Francis. Chris Cyborg has had to live through this through her whole career. Big compliment to Cyborg, but we also kind of laid off the competition and go, well, that could be sensitive. You start calling out a division. I think the heavyweights have been around long enough that they can take it. And to take it is the cold, hard truth. None of you have called for Francis because you don't want him. You're scared of him. There is no better time to start positioning yourself than right now when things are really up in the air. And yes, we could break it down to more logical that between Stipe and John and Derek Lewis, those are probably, and we'll figure out the order later, going to be Francis's 2021. Sure. But again, if you concede to that, then you're conceding to let somebody else run your career. Where's the fight? Where's the battle? Where's the effort? Where's the gamesmanship? Where's the strategy? Sometimes I feel like these fighters go brain dead. All of the things that you learn through the hard work and the disciplines that are involved in this sport, as soon as you're not in the cage doing the sport, you go brain dead. What did this sport teach you? It taught you to overcome. It taught you to try. It taught you to take a risk. It taught you to strategize. You don't want to talk about your game plans, goal setting, focus, dedication. But if you're not doing it, you go brain dead. Why would those same principles, those same buzzwords I just used, not apply to other things in life? How would you not take that same goal-setting strategy? How would you not take that and come up with a plan to go after Francis and start to align yourself, particularly when you understand that the landscape, look, if there's 10 voices saying the same thing, to be the loudest one becomes challenging. It becomes tricky. Fine, if that's the battle, you got to figure out how to do it. But when you're in a spot and nobody wants to do that, nobody's calling them out. You will be heard. You will stand out. And I'll personalize this real fast, but when I started calling out Anderson Silva, I was laughed at. And it finally made it all the way to Dana White, who referred to me as Chael Sonnen. He didn't even know my name. I'm just bringing that to you because nobody's fought Anderson more times than me. Nobody's fought him more than twice. Nobody's more corrected to his career than me. I started out by getting laughed at. I wasn't a main card fighter. I wasn't a co-main. I wasn't a main event. I wasn't any of these things, but I didn't let those rules apply. Those are somebody else's rules. Give a goddamn about that. I'll come off the bench. I'll come from first fight of the night to the main event. There's nothing written down anywhere that says you can't do that. There's just beliefs. It's just not generally done. It's just not usually how it works. Be the exception. Be the smartest guy in the room. Be the only guy in the room. But you're not. And you're not quite as dumb as I make you guys out to be. You're not. You are every bit as cowardly as I make you out to be. There's a piece of this where you just haven't thunk of it. There's a larger piece that you don't want to do it. You don't want to fight Francis Ngannou.